Common Knowledge Podcast, just a man doing the best he can with what he got. And today I got a very special guest, my homie, my brother from way back in the day, and up-and-coming album later to be announced. James Payne Lethal. Brother, man, welcome to the show.
Man, what's up, bro? How you living, man?
Man, slow motion. And today we're going to talk about specifically the halftime performances of the Super Bowl and the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show. Just the halftime show. Yes, guys, I'm going to do my regular thing while I do with Alex on the random show. But, you know, Payne is a musician. I'm a musician. So we're going to talk about this, give some critiques, and maybe bounce some ideas off of each other.
Well, I mean, first off, man, I want to thank you for allowing me to join you on your podcast, Common Knowledge Podcast. Streaming wherever podcasts are available for consumption. I particularly consume your podcast through Spotify, but I mean, it's also available on Apple Podcasts, and hopefully soon it'll be coming to the Netflix podcast streets. But I mean, right now, man, I consume it at Spotify, and I just want to thank you for having me today. Man, bro, before we begin, bro, is it okay if I partake of a cigar, bro? I like to have a cigar occasionally. It kind of helps me relax, get in my zone.
Yeah, man, in my house, I can't smell the smoke, man. Go for it.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to the local cigar shop that I purchased cigar from, Liquid Smoke. They hooked me up with a nice Mocha Monte Cristo. So, I mean, right now we got a Mocha Monte Cristo, so I'm going to have this. And I just wanted to give a shout out to them, shout out to Liquid Smoke, man. Some good people over there. If you ever in the Middle Tennessee area, look up Liquid Smoke, go check them out, man. They got cigars from all around the world. So whatever flavor you're looking for, they can get you in the game for sure.
And shout out to cigars coming in flavors too, man. Like, yeah, long way from Dutch Masters.
Yeah, long way, bro.
Long way for the masters of the Dutch.
Yesterday was it was commemorating the end of the 2025 season, the NFL football season, but we had the Super Bowl here in the early days of February 2026. And it was quite an interesting watch. I'm not going to say the game. The game itself, bro, it really was a snooze fest. But what was intriguing to me was the halftime. I think that the NFL, I believe that Rock Nation is still doing the booking.
They are. For the
NFL halftime performances, and it seems like they rolled the dice a little bit yesterday in choosing, one of the top 3 international artists right now. I mean, a very dominant artist is when you talk about streaming numbers. He's a well-known figure in the music world, but here in America, I don't think he's really a household name as of yet. But I mean, after yesterday, that's about to change quickly.
I take umbrage with a few points, man. First, he is American. He's from American territory, so he's not an international act. He's an American act.
I didn't mean to exclude him from American classification. It's just like, to my knowledge, on the Billboard charts, the highest that he's made it was 85. But on the international charts, to my knowledge, like you brought it to my attention off air, I mean, he pretty much is dominating.
Dominant, yes.
The stream stratosphere. I mean, with monthly listenership that close to 100 million monthly. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's pretty much the viewership of the Super Bowl.
Yes. That was a good get. When you said roll the dice, I don't think they rolled the dice, man. I think that was a really good get for those people to get one of the most dominant stars in his prime. Because most people don't do the Super Bowl in their prime. You typically have people who are like legacy acts coming to the Super Bowl.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, but for the NFL to actually book this person was really a good get for them. So I don't think they rolled the dice. That was actually a well thought out strategy, and they better be grateful they got dude.
I mean, on the other side of that coin, though, I think if you're Bad Bunny, the Super Bowl halftime show is probably the premier stage that you could want to be on if you were a performer. Where else are you going to get that many eyeballs outside of possibly being a headliner at the World Cup?
That's true. That's true, right? The Super Bowl bounce and bump is true. Every artist who do the Super Bowl, their streaming numbers like go out the frame the next time, right? It's just obvious because most people don't know you got to pay to perform at the Super Bowl. You coming out of pocket with that? Yeah, you get your money on the back end from touring, shows, and streams. So yeah. On the back end, dude gonna make his money back. Let me just talk about the shows in general.
Before we talk about both shows, why do you feel that there was a need for there to be an alternative to the main stage?
It was totally political in this, and it was manufactured crisis and outrage. It was really a protest. It was a protest show. I do feel like this is the one-off. I think you won't see this again, but that's what caused this. It was a recruitment drive. That's all it was. Like,
really?
Oh man, Turning Point USA, there's no way they could have lost on this because if you just got people tuning in, you won. Like when you go number for number, viewership for the Super Bowl is like 130 million. Turning Point USA had maybe 6 million, right? That's not even 10% of the regular viewership. So if you're the NFL, that's a nothing. But if you got 6 million on YouTube, if you're Turning Point, that gives you a level of credibility in the social sphere. So you can say, hey, we had 6 million people listening. And you know, so if you're Turning Point, you won in that sense because, hey man, now you got some more stuff to market and recruit people with. Musically, wasn't bad. Both of the shows. It's just, you know, that's what I think. What's your take on it though?
I had an opportunity to observe both shows, but I had to do it after the fact. Musically, being that we're both musicians, right? I gotta give my props to the TV USA show musically because I just understood it, right? I understood it. The music presentation, like it was really in your face, but I got the feeling that it was like, it felt like a studio album almost. Like it felt like, you know, they were in a controlled environment. They had the audio engineers working overtime to make sure everything sounded optimal. You know what I mean? They had the controlled pyro, some things that I didn't necessarily care for, being that it was a controlled environment. I questioned the authenticity of the crowd. Was the crowd really invested in the performances that they were watching? It gave me a game show feel almost with the crowd. And then like cue the applause, cue the energy. When one of the artists was performing and his song was basically directly talking about current times. And it was like you could hear the reactions of the crowd. I almost feel like the crowd had to be cued in order to react to that, right? Now you got the big show. Audio mixing and things like that it left some things to be desired. It didn't sound that great to me. But the show itself, I mean, it was a movie. It was a 13 and a half minute movie of continuous, really in your face, nonstop action pretty much. So it didn't sound that great to me, but it was definitely engaging. It definitely drew my attention, and it held my attention for the duration of the performance.
Totally disagree, man. And this is why the Turning Point USA seemed canned. Like the Super Bowl is a live performance, right? It's happening in real time. You got movement, you got feel, you got breath control. The crowd and the ambience, the stage is damn near another one, right? Contrast to Turning Point USA, where it felt pre-recorded. All that stuff felt canned, almost like a presentation. It was a presentation to try to say something, but it wasn't live. And it was mostly people on stage singing in one spot. There was no movement. There was no energy. Now, vocally, once again, if you got it recorded, I expect it to sound perfect, but that's not live performance. Now, when it comes to lyrics, right? People say, I can't understand the lyrics. And I feel like if you come in at music from a position of not understanding the lyrics, you're missing music and you don't really appreciate music. Even the great masters like Mozart, Chopin, Wagner, right? When you listen to classical music, you don't have no lyrics, but it gives you emotional depth. You feel it. That music you can feel. Reggaeton has a beat to it you can feel. It's not just about the lyrics. I listen to Elise Regina, Portugal singer. I don't know what she's saying, man, but the words, the emotional content, how she's singing the melisma, it reaches me. So if you're really a music lover and you need to widen up a little bit more, listening to music is about rhythm, it's about performance, and dare I say, it's about emotional content. So I got all that from Bad Bunny. I didn't get that from the Turning Point USA. Once again, good can singers standing in one spot singing stuff that was pre-recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So not a good show for me. It was pretty stale in the box.
Like I said, it was in a controlled environment, and I do feel like it was pre-recorded. The transitions between one artist to the next artist, the classical element, the kid rock element, and then the transitions between artists, between acts. You can't do that on a single stage of that size and get one band off and the next band on in that tight of a window without it being pre-recorded, some type of breaks, edits, things like that. So that I agree. You call it canned, I just call it controlled environment, which is why I alluded to the fact that I feel like I question the crowd engagement or the investment of the crowd, because I feel like it felt game showish to me in that they could have possibly been prompted to react. But at the same time, the music, I know a lot of those songs.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of those songs. It was very Nashville. But Nashville is a powerhouse now. I remember when we were coming up, kind of was like hand in hand with hip hop, in that it wasn't all the way mainstream. It had a very niche market, and it wasn't commercially accepted. It was kind of like rebel music in a sense. But like now, like for example, the Nashville New Year's Eve celebration kind of rivals the New York City celebration in viewership, star power, and presentation. So it was very Nashville. So when you talk about that and the type of music familiarity, it definitely was targeted. I mean, they know their demographic. They're appealing to their demographic. They're doing that. But I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy the music. I mean, I know a lot of those songs. I think the performers did a damn good job.
Well, when you say performance, like did a good job, how? Because they was just stationary in one spot for the whole show.
Right. I mean, yeah, stationary, but I'm talking about, the Grammys, those guys are stationary. You know, like I'm talking about how they delivered their particular set. When they were up there, what I saw, unless they were saying cut and retake the whole set, what I saw, what was presented to me, I actually enjoyed watching it. But like I said before, it felt very game showy. Now with the Bad Bunny thing, outside of the language barrier, I try very hard to learn Spanish, but the pace of Latin music is too advanced for my mind. But to your point, I'm black. I mean, I'm acutely aware of how rhythm works, right? So I hear a beat, I see very curvaceous women dancing. You know, they got the pyro. You know, the beat thumping. You know, you're gonna kind of like, get a little shoulder bop, a little toe tap going. You know, even though I don't know what he's saying, I'm gonna kind of vibe with the rhythm of the music a little bit. So I'm with you there. But for me, I also like to understand, like, and that's my drawback with mumble rap. I don't always understand what they're saying, so I can't be all the way invested into it.
That
But
was the
that's
thing with
just a
Bone
me
Thugs and
thing.
Harmony as well, right? When Bone Thugs
Right.
came out, people was like, yo, because you got to think about it, even the triplet syncopation rap, when it first came out, was super innovative. And people was like, man, I can't get this triplet rap when you had Lower Infamous hitting the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. People was like, man, I
Right.
don't get it, right? So, no, I can totally understand that. But I think that was just an English bias people had. And once again, I feel like people don't appreciate music for what it is. So they feel like if it's not English, then I can't rock with it. And that was kind of the reason why they had this and they manufactured this. But once again, that is a privilege that people just felt like they should have. Well, why is it not in English?
Americans, red-blooded Americans, can be very biased, man, when it comes to how we like our stuff. I noticed that too. With a lot of this next day debate, man. People, when you start getting people a little bit out of their comfort zone, you start messing with they Sunday afternoon games, or you start messing with it, man. People get very uncomfortable.
But why
So
is that though? And then that's the key problem, right? When we go back to this show didn't really have to happen. Like once again, props to the performers on both sides. I love the Bad Bunny performance a lot more. It was a live show. The other one was
right.
just canned and kind of stale and just really white bread. Not to be, make a pun, but it was white bread. It was just stale. It was just people singing. But it didn't have to happen.
Objectively, I'm not trying to take anything away from Bad Bunny. He did his thing, man. The physical conditioning he had to be in to go from set to set. How they were able to blend in cinematic elements with the actual live performance. Like I said, there was a definite rhythm and beat there, and I mean, to all of the choreographed nature of the performances, getting everybody in sync like that. I mean, hey, they did their thing. The set designers, they did their thing.
I don't
And
see where the problem is. It's like you agreeing with me.
no, I'm not saying it was better. I'm just saying they did their thing. I'm giving them props what props to do.
What made the other one better though?
But the language barrier for me was a drawback, and I mean it's just I couldn't all the way get with it, man. It was just it's like I was watching it, but I wasn't really invested in it. If that makes any sense.
So it's just the language. So you're saying had you understood the language, that show would have been better. The only thing that's not making that show better is the language.
I think if I was Latino, I would have been over the moon.
What? So you think you have to be Latino to appreciate reggaeton?
I think I would have connected more with the frequency of what was presented.
Okay, so what makes you connect more to country music versus rap music in other genres of music?
Language barrier, and I mean, pretty much language barrier.
I mean, if that's enough for you to say the other show was better, cool. But for me, that's not enough because for all the reasons you just gave, it was a vastly superior show.
The TPUSA, I think it did a good job. Or if you're not familiar with those artists, which I was not, but I was very familiar with those songs, it gave me an opportunity to put a face with the song, just for me.
So the contrast could have been true too, right? Because you were not familiar with Bad Bunny.
Well, I know who Bad Bunny is, but not for his music. I know who Bad Bunny is because I'm a WWE fan. In 2023, Bad Bunny, they gave him a feature run, but they did a similar thing in 2025 and in 2025 with Jelly Roll.
They did.
And
Metro Boomin had a stint too for WrestleMania. Metro Boomin.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I actually missed it.
Yeah, he did a promo for them and everything. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. He was in Atlanta. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I was familiar with Bad Bunny, but not for his musical exploits. I'm sure that I've heard his music before because I'm deep into the boxing community, right? And some of the spots that I go to for boxing shows, boxing has a very present Latino representation. I work with a lot of Mexican fighters, a lot of Puerto Rican fighters, a lot of South American fighters, and some of their walkout music possibly was Bad Bunny material. Whenever I'm going to, there is a very popular restaurant and bar where they do fight night, and it's all Latin culture. They represent pretty much everything South America, Central America, Latin America, and the Caribbean. And they play videos along with the music. So that's how I became introduced to J Balvin. I had never heard of him until I went to that venue. But when I'm not in that environment, I'm never presented with with that music.
Well, that's my thing though, right? When you talk about venue in the Super Bowl halftime show, the Super Bowl halftime show is more of a party, a
Hmm.
celebration, and you want higher energy. I got that with Bad Bunny. I did not get that
Right.
with the Turning Point USA, right? That was more of a show that you should have at an intimate venue, right? That was kind of the problem I had with the weekend show. The weekend show for the Super Bowl was more like something you should have in an intimate venue that really didn't translate to the stage. The
Hmm.
Rihanna show was monotone, music was iffy, right? The
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar show I thought was great. It was a protest, but his song wasn't really as upbeat. But when you're talking about something made for the Super Bowl and that type of audience, this is the type of music you want. And it really connects. Because once again, you want to keep the folks in their seat. Turning Point, man, it pars, man, you went into old drawn out, like slow songs. It was boring as hell. And once again, the songs weren't bad, but it was just boring as hell. I'm like, dude, is this what we really want now during a football show? It was just really an archetype of, hey, this is what you're going to take because this is real American music. I'm like, bro, this is wild. The choices
Def,
y'all made.
definitely, it definitely was intentional.
Mhm.
Definitely was intentional. I'm just gonna say it like this: when I was watching the TPUSA show, it gave me this spirit of rebelliousness. If
You
that
know
makes
why?
any,
You know why though?
because they forced it. They wanted it to feel like we're going against the grain. That's how they wanted it to feel.
It was well placed propaganda. That's all it was. It was streamlined propaganda, and it was designed to make you think you're counterculture when you're really not. You're kind of in this weird spot, right? That's what the whole programming of that whole thing was. It was just straight up propaganda.
Well, I mean, I guess that we could say culturally.
What is cultural? When you say culturally, what do you mean by culture? We need to define that because that buzzword gets thrown out there. What you mean by culture?
Well, see, I struggle to ask myself what's American culture because I don't think that American culture is country music. That's just one element of it. America has so many different tiers to when you talk about culture, right? So culturally, like if you want to try to introduce someone to, they gave us their culture on full scale.
We need to define what culture is, man, because I get tired of people using culture and not knowing what it means. Not saying that's you, but like I had to define culture is a shared set of belief, values, customs, behaviors, and artifacts that characterize a group, society, or organization. So when I hear people say culture, are you trying to make a certain culture a dominant culture? Because in America, we're supposed to have a culture of diversity. That is our main strength.
Just to be honest, man, I'm a blue collar guy. I believe in hard work. I believe in. I have a faith. I have a strong faith about myself. I believe in the concept of family. So, and I have a lot of conservative values. Those are my beliefs, right? Um, so yeah, but I'm not trying to say that I identify 100%. Like I'm not about the identity politics.
Well,
I'm
I don't
not
see
about.
how that's different from like Bad Bunny's beliefs. When you say your beliefs, I don't know how that contrasts with anybody else's beliefs as well, right? It's an artificial barrier that we make that we try to
Well,
say like these are my beliefs. Well, how you know they're not my beliefs either, right?
no. So get this right. As I was watching their performance, I was thinking to myself like, wow, this story that they're telling. I saw an engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I
Real wedding, by
saw
the way.
I saw I didn't know that, but I
Mm-hmm.
saw a child in a barbershop chair. I saw cornrows being applied on a porch. I saw a game of dominoes, right? I saw all of these different things. And I was thinking to myself, like, dang, how come now this is probably where I'm about to lose you and probably lose your audience. So it might come off as being kind of a hater, right? But I was like, how come it takes Bad Bunny to present an image of the nuclear family intact from creation and maturation, right? But then when a lot of the times when we get our hip hop acts up there, it's all about booty shaking.
Nah, it's
it's
not.
all about gangsterism and crip walking on stage and all that type of thing. Like
Huh.
about the like remember when Dr. Dre and them did it, right? The hydraulics and the blue rags and the red rags and
But that's part of
the
American culture, though. Like, for better or
bruh,
worse, it's part of the culture.
but bro, like I think that fundamentally, bro, that's like it's a kryptonite for us also, bro. Because
Uh,
being black in America, bro, we don't get the nuclear family promoted to us like that.
but why not?
That's a good question. I
So,
ask myself
I
that.
mean, I ain't gonna say a loaded question, but that's a question that has a bunch of parts to it that you can't just really just sum down to that. But my question is, why do you need that in a show? And
Why?
just because he conveyed it doesn't mean that that's not something or values that black folks don't have, man. So, I mean, once again, but that goes back to your conservative values. You saw all that in Bad Bunny show, so that means y'all values are the same, right?
Yeah, but then there's the language barrier that makes it where I can't fully invest into the show.
So the language is really like getting me, right? And I feel like, let me just say this. This is propaganda to a T. And let me just define propaganda, right? Because propaganda is information often biased or misleading, used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view. That's the definition of propaganda. And why this qualifies as propaganda is because Turning Point branded their event as the All American halftime show. So that
Mm-hmm.
already frames it
Very, very
misleading.
frank.
So
Very frank.
misleading. And the misleading part is calling it all American because that implies that Bad Bunny is not American, which is false. He's Puerto Rican, and Puerto
It's Puerto
Ricans are
Rican.
American citizens. Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
There's no argument
They
about
can
that.
travel. They can travel in. They actually got the golden ticket when you talk about being Latino and being connected
But let
to
me finish.
America.
Let me finish though. The doctrine part of propaganda. I'm just trying to say why this is all propaganda. The doctrine part, the message that's being pushed isn't about music or performance. This wasn't about the music and performance. It was about right-wing culture and the narrative about who is an American. That's why people said Bad Bunny, he's not American. Like, no, he is American. So the subtext is that he doesn't speak English or he doesn't fit into our cultural image. So he's not American. And that's a Eurocentric way of looking at what an American is. And I can't do it, right? So when you talk about language in America, there is no national language. There literally is no national language. And if we want to be honest, Spanish was spoken in America long before English ever was. So it's a weird thing to me. But they gassed everybody up on the right wing to think that, hey, if you don't hear English, somehow you can't invest in it. You can, because it's literally American culture. It's the same argument with Black history. Like, yo, Black history is American history. Puerto Rico is American culture. Folks don't even know how we got Puerto Rico, right? They don't know the history of it. Like, sorry, man, not to get on this tangent, but it
No,
makes me mad.
please do, because it's something that you said that I would like to unpack after you finish the
Yeah,
point. Please.
it makes me mad because, like, in Japan, I dealt with the idea of the default American. So they think the default American is blonde, white, blue eyes, right? So when I come into a room, they'd be like, hey, man, what part of Africa you from? I'm like, from America, right? But it's that concept that I couldn't be a real American to them, right? To the point one time I went for the job interview and it's like, we're looking for somebody more American. I'm like, bitch, you don't get no more American than me. I got this blue passport, right? So who gets to define what an American is and what is your default American in your mind is what we're dealing with right now. And that was all the propaganda in this whole thing. So now we got a question. Oh, is Bad Bunny American? Yes, he's American. Spanish is American. We have no national language, but the dominant language is English. And because of our privilege, we think, oh man, of course everything should be in English. You're not catering to me if it's not in English. When it's supposed to be a worldwide event and America is supposed to be known for its diversity. So
The
it's
Super Bowl is a worldwide event.
yeah.
I know I don't think it is, but I think that that's the direction that they're trying to. They definitely are trying to globalize American football, but I don't think that
I'm sorry, that's the point I was trying to make. Fair point.
I,
Yes.
I don't think that they're trying to globalize American football, but I don't think that it's working as well. A global sport is
Football, soccer.
FIFA.
Yes.
That's global.
Football.
this is an American creation, a USA, a United States of America creation that we're trying to export to the world. That's what I think. But I didn't.
No, you're right. No, you're totally right. It is American export, and that's the point I was trying to make. You did it a little more eloquent to me. I appreciate that, because we do have football matches in England, France, some in Mexico. They're trying to make it more global. They actually have their own American Football League in Japan too that they asked me to try out for, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. But so they're trying to make it a global sport.
Why did they ask you to do that? Why? Because you're black?
No, not because I'm black. Because I was in the gym and I was cocking up 315. Right? That's why. Like, they literally looked at me and said, "Oh man, you're pretty big, man. Don't you want to try out for the American Football League?" And I ain't gonna lie, a part of me was like, "Yeah, man, I could do it. Hell, relive the glory days." But then I was like 39 at the time. My right brain kicked in and said, "Man, sit your old ass down, man. You better go out there and kill yourself for football." For amateur football, no, semi-pro football, for that little ass check. So I talked myself out of it real quick. But now they asked me, man, they're like, "Hey, come try out." I'm like, nah, dog. These brittle bones can't take it. But nah, because I was cock diesel.
Do you feel like there was messaging? Do you feel like there was some subliminal messaging, or do you feel like there was a corporate agenda with this?
Which what? Both shows?
Yes, please.
Yes, both shows had their own corporate agenda and social agenda. When you look at the Bad Bunny show, the corporate agenda for the NFL was, hey, how do I expand my brand and make it more internationally appealing? So I got Bad Bunny. One of the most dominant languages spoken around the world is Spanish. There's way more Spanish speakers than English.
It is the most dominant language.
Exactly. So how do I get into that market? Bet I use an American to break into the Spanish market while also highlighting our diversity. It should be a win-win, right? But on Turning Point, hey, this is an opportunity to push your agenda and, dare I say, frame what you think an American is. So for them, like from Turning Point, it's like, okay, I'm cool with everything Trump is doing. I'm cool with these deportations and the racial bias and the discrimination that's going on towards Hispanic people. How do I promote that and how do I recruit more? Well, hey, I do an alternative halftime show. So, like I said, it's just, for Turning Point, it's a fundraiser. For the NFL, it's a way to break into the international market. That's the corporate spin on both sides. Like, they both used it to try to gain more people.
Well, I will agree with you that I think we're in a highly political climate. I think that the two shows, you say it would be a one-off. I don't think so, bro. I think that they just opened up something. Where it goes from here, I don't know. But they're trying to get people out of neutrality, and they want you to pick a side. And that's what concerns me, where we are today. They want you to pick a side.
So what's the size, though? If you don't mind me asking, like, let's try to pick out what's the size.
Okay, so like Bad Bunny's, I guess you would call it the finale, when you see a legion of people rushing the television camera, and you see so many different, because they didn't represent the United States of America as a solo entity. They represented
all
North and South, the Western
Americas.
Hemisphere as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. And so that would mean that it almost gave me the impression of a borderless society.
Nah, I think you're reaching on that one, buddy.
I'm talking about me, bro. Right. Like you can't tell me when I'm reaching.
No, sir. I just think you're reaching. Yeah.
You know, I'm just speaking on what I saw. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a sensationalist on your show. I'm just saying what bro, I see a legion of people storming the screen, I see dozens of flags. It's like, bro, is this the Olympics right now? Like, what's happening right now? Like, this I thought this was the Super Bowl, but it's like it's inclusive, but then it wasn't really inclusive.
How not?
Because, bro, it you as the viewer, you're watching a completely different. It was different, bro. It was different. Because I don't want to box myself in, because I don't want to give the impression that I don't like Latin people. And that's definitely not the case, because I'm trying hard to learn Spanish. I think that Latin people are gorgeous. But when I saw like the presentation of this nuclear family story being told from creation, from when a man is making his proposition to a woman, to the joining of them and surrounded by family and friends, and I'm seeing elders in the same frame that I'm seeing the adolescents, and bro, it gave just this beautiful unity and just family oriented presentation. And I'm like, damn, that's gorgeous. I want my people to be portraying that more. I want, and then that's something else. This is it's unrelated to the halftime shows. I know we done kind of got off on a tangent, kind of got outside.
I'm letting you cook, man. Go for
it. Colored outside the lines. I actually So my job, my primary job, right? I work around a majority Caucasian workforce, all middle-aged men, but 2 Hispanic men that also work with me. And I'm one of 2 black men on a couple of dozen man crew, right? And the 2 Hispanic men told me that they didn't enjoy the show. They didn't enjoy the halftime show, which was shocking.
Did they give reasons why?
They didn't elaborate outside of the fact that they were like, man, I just didn't enjoy it. They literally like, I didn't tune in for that.
Right.
The middle-aged men, a majority of them watched the TV show. The other half said that they either just went and like got some more beer or dip or something like that, or went outside and smoked a cigarette during the halftime show. And they honestly were saying by the 4th quarter, they were completely uninterested in the product.
I can see that because the game was a beatdown. Yeah.
Right. But what I want to talk about is the beginning of the game before the kickoff, right? Mm-hmm. Those men, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to rock the boat at 7:00 in the morning. But they were actually offended with the singing of the Black National Anthem. And I didn't know that happened.
It did. Yeah.
I didn't know that they sang the Black National Anthem. Did they even sing the actual national anthem?
Of course it did.
So they sang them both back to back.
Mm-hmm.
They were offended by this, and that threw me for a loop.
Why would they get offended?
Bro, it's like, I think I heard one of them say, I kind of tuned off when I heard the man say, man, one of them in particular saying he was offended by it. And he was like, why are we appealing to 13% of the demographic?
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Like,
bro,
I was like, what?
Yo.
What? Like, I kind of like went somewhere.
Yeah.
It was like kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me not, because if I jump in on you right now, then I basically put a corporate target on my back, and I'm not trying to mess up.
You got to pick and choose, right? You got to pick and choose sometimes.
I'm not gonna fumble the bag this early in February.
However, I would have to say something, dog, because once again, I have this whole knack of how uncomfortable I gotta be to make you feel comfortable. If you making me feel uncomfortable, I can make you feel uncomfortable.
If I'm gonna say something, it's definitely a discussion that I want to have by pulling the gentleman to the side.
Could be.
And kind of explaining to him the significance of the Black National Anthem.
Or HR. It could be an HR thing too, right? Because we don't use HR enough. We don't use HR enough. Like, yo, HR, come get this guy. Reel him back in, my G. But I mean, so that's the undertone of all this, right? What we don't want to talk about. Like, most of this is racial, but we're conditioned to think it's not about race. But that's all it was. Like, Turning Point's underlying theme was, we don't see no white people. It's been
All
too black.
American.
Yeah. And the underlying theme is white is American. And I see that everywhere. And that's what they're
Man,
trying to get at, if we just being honest about the situation.
like I said, the musical part of it, like I understood, I kind of related more to the musical presentation, though it was, you say canned, I say controlled environment, definitely produced.
Potato,
It was
potato.
like it was like a game show type feel to me. But the things like, when I heard what my coworker said, I was like, damn, like really though, like goodness, like it really just highlights to me that this is gonna be another one that might be a little racy for the show. But I'm like, bro, I really feel like white people are threatened right now.
No, that's what it. So, ding, ding, ding. That's all this all is. Like that is the genesis of Trump being reelected, man. White folks know that whiteness, which is amorphous in its term anyway, like black and white is amorphous, but it's a fleeting thing, right? So they're kind of fighting hard because historically they made it too hard to be white. Like you got to think the Irish weren't white at first, right?
Right.
The Scottish weren't white at
The
first.
Polish
The
weren't
Polish
white.
weren't white.
The
Oh, they hated the
Germans
Polish. The
weren't
Germans
white.
weren't white, right? But they made it so hard to be white, especially by saying one drop of Negro blood makes you black.
The Italians weren't white.
They weren't white, right? They say what? Africa stars past the Pyrenees, right? So it's a thing that it's kind of a last gasp, but people are trying to hold on to something that's familiar with them. But that's what it is. It's fear, man. Like white folks are scared and they are dealing with a lot of change. And that's what this whole Turning Point USA halftime show was. It was just saying, hey, man, too much change. I'm scared. Like, slow down. What is America going to look like if I'm not dominant? Like, if we're not the dominant culture, what is the new culture that takes over? Right? It's not a guarantee that the culture you're used to has to be the dominant culture. But they're saying, I want this to be the dominant culture. Right? And for honest, the God, I don't see like any problem with you loving your culture. It's just you shouldn't want to force your culture on me, especially in a country where we supposedly touted for our diversity.
Right. Right. It's supposedly.
Supposedly, right? That's the underlying thing, but what we say and what we do are two different things. But no, that's the whole underlying thing. Because I keep telling everybody, black folks in general are conservative as hell.
I think black people, right? I think black people have to be either conditioned or they have to be either coached into views and values that don't coincide with a conservative nature. That's my personal opinion. But I mean, all black people in this country originated from the South. And then they migrated out to the West and to the North and the Midwest in search of better opportunities, because in the South, they was like, no, go pick that cotton and you take what I give you if I give you anything at all. But man,
Well, I mean,
it's a lot, bro. You got my mind really spinning right now, bro. This is crazy.
Like the psyche of most white people in America is, I can go anywhere, and of course, you should be catering to me because I'm a full-blooded American. But the black psyche in America is that of just being grateful. Like they don't want to rock the boat. They don't feel like this is guaranteed for them. They feel like they should be thankful. Like you will hear a lot of black elders saying, man, no, be thankful for what you get. That's not a white psyche. White people like, of course, I should get more. This is what should be happening to me. We think in two different ways. And that kind of leads us into like not really demanding a lot of things because we feel like, well, be thankful for what you get. It's a really dangerous way of thinking, man. But I've noticed that with a lot of black people, especially my black elders, man. Like I tell them, like, no, I've seen black folks do wonderful things, so much with less. But we don't have that inner love to be like, hey, man, I deserve this. It's just be thankful. Don't rock the boat. And white folks are not like that. That's why a lot of white folks were okay with sending the National Guard into underserved communities, the black communities they're never going to go to. Like, why do you don't have a dog in this fight? You're not going to South Memphis. Okay, let's say you deploy the National Guard in South Memphis. All right, they're in there now. Crime went down magically. Are you coming back to South Memphis? Are you going to bring businesses? Are you going to patron these black businesses in South Memphis? No. It's just, hey, I feel like this, and this is what should happen. So yeah, it's a weird thing, man. When I look at it in its whole totality, and this whole turning point thing, it's just another arm of that. Once again, music not bad. Like the music was good in both shows, but it's just what it symbolized that I didn't like. But
one more thing that I would like to say, because I don't even know how long we've been talking, bro. One more thing I would like to say. I'm tired of when I want to view sports. I'm tired of sports trying to preach to me, trying to force me to pay attention to or be aware of things that, man, I just want to see, nigga. I just want to see you dribble. I just want to see some dudes running on the field, throwing passes, collisions. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see my guys in the ring boxing, trying to knock each other head off, bro. I don't want to be preached to, but that's just me. And then I feel like the corporations are feeding the beast, and I'm like, bro, like what? Please help me, bro.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because I'm glad you hit on that, right? So I've been dealing with the political nature of sports, and I've been trying to get people to realize that as soon as you insert the national anthem into a sports event, it's political. There is no need to sing the national anthem before sports. No need whatsoever. That is a political
do they
act.
not do it in Japan? Do they not do it in Mexico? No. I know for a fact they do.
They don't do it in Japan. They just play the game.
Well, I know for a fact they do it in Mexico because like I said, like I'm deep into the boxing community, and whenever I'm watching a Mexican boxing broadcast, they always
sing why
the
sports?
Mexican national anthem.
But my question is, why sports? Because when you go to work, you don't see the national anthem. Like before you start work, you don't start the national anthem. When you go to church, you don't see the national anthem. Why is it there? It's a political act to try to get you more patriotic and to sell you your country, right? Nobody wants to feel bad about their country, really, right? Even though your country does bad things. Like even in Japan, man, jingoism hit me hard. Like, man, whoa, I can talk about America, but goddamn it, Asian man, you're not going to talk about it, right? So, but you don't need that. It's not necessary. So whenever you see the planes fly over, when you see the troops come out, that's all political in nature. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you patriotism.
Strength.
Yeah, strength and patriotism. Like they're trying to make you say rah, 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 right? But ultimately, your gauge of an American, especially in America where you have the First Amendment right to protest, you not standing up for a national anthem or not doing that shouldn't be a problem, right? If you really rock with the Constitution.
It should be your personal choice, but then we get, and it's so ironic that the Super Bowl was in San Francisco, and we can rewind, what was it, maybe a little bit more than a decade or so ago when we had that whole fiasco. Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah, true. Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, so and that was a whole ordeal. Mm-hmm. That had everybody, well, what happens next? What are we doing? Where do we go from here? Mm-hmm. The whole shut up and dribble thing. And but then here I am, I almost sound hypocritical because when I'm looking at a sports broadcast, that's really what I want to see you do. I want to see you dribble.
Well, see, the problem is, right, I think a lot of folks aren't against political messages. They're just against the message they don't like, right? And if you're going to open that door, once again, by having the national anthem, a tribute to Charlie Kirk, the soldiers come out, right? You got to be open to the counterpart, right? So if we're going to stop everything, I'm okay with that. Like, seriously, we can stop everything, just have sports. But I don't look for moralities in corporations, because corporations are just looking for better ways to sell stuff to you. So when Black Lives Matter was popping, of course, everybody hopped on it because, like, yo, man, that's the new thing. If I'm Nike, of course. I know a lot of my consumers are Black people, which is really always boils down to money with these corporations anyway. I know that. So, of course, I'm going to support that, right? Like, most of everything in America is based from a capitalistic point of view anyway. So even the civil rights, man, like what got them folks to their knees was money, man. Them folks stopped investing in America, man. That black dollar went out, and they're like, man, shit, we gotta change shit. Because the only thing desegregation really did was desegregate our money. They wanted all our goddamn money, right? So that's always how you've been able to bring America to its knees, right? It's through the money. But no, I don't expect morality from a corporation. They're gonna flip flop. I mean, that's why as soon as Trump got elected, man, they started killing DEI. It's like, no, we don't need to do this no more, guys. We go, right? Because they don't have a stationary position in America. But once again, if you want to keep all politics out of sports, I'm good. But let's start with the national anthem. Let's start with the troops. Like, just have the sports. If you want us to shut up and dribble, cool. Get all the politics out of there, man. In my opinion.
So does that eliminate the need for the Olympics? Have you been paying attention to what's happening at the Winter Olympics?
No, how did it political? Give me the example.
They're just getting ready to kick off if they have not, well, I guess it's not the proper term for kick off. They're just getting ready to break ice on the Winter Olympics or whatever. And the entire discussion, and I don't know if it's isolated to American athletes, but American athletes are using the platform as a place to expound their political views, rather than talk about, hey, I'm excited to be here and represent my country, and we're going for gold. They're talking about everything but that. They're
I'm
talking
okay with
about.
that.
You are?
Yeah. I mean, the Olympics have a historical precedence, right, of being political, even when Hitler was Time Life Man of the Year, and they had the Olympics in Germany. And if I'm not mistaken, was it Carl Lewis came and whooped everybody's ass? Then you got John
I
Carlos.
thought that was Owens. Am I mistaken?
Jesse, I'm sorry. Thank you. Jesse Owens came with everybody's ass, and then the Black Fist in Mexico City, right, to show that, hey, there was unfair treatment of black people in America.
That wasn't Mexico. That wasn't Mexico. My bad.
It was Mexico City.
That wasn't Germany. My bad. That wasn't Germany. My bad.
Mexico City. Yeah. I mean, we're getting a little bit. You get what I'm saying, audience. You know what we're saying. We messed it up, but that is something they do, man, in the Olympics, to try to bring like
awareness.
Yeah, awareness and light to social things you don't like. And America is going through a hard time, depending on what side of the aisle you are and what you think.
Right. I would say it's hard on everybody, but they positioned us against from each other, right?
Well, going back to the turning point, man, like, you can't manufacture a crisis and do separation and then be like, we're doing this separation to bring us together. It's an oxymoron. Like, if you really wanted to bring Americans together, you would have still had that goddamn same one and maybe talked about why you didn't like it and bring the conversation forward. But like, breaking apart made no damn sense to me. You're literally separating yourselves. So it's a weird thing, man. Like, I listen to people, well, we got to come together, but I don't want you goddamn Spanish people speaking people who are Americans to be in here. It's like, what are you saying? What are you really trying to say? I hear what you're saying, but what you're saying and what you're doing, your actions don't line up. So if you don't want these people to be American, then hell, just let them go free. Let them folks be their own independent country. Give them their independence so they can have their own foreign policy, and we can't dictate that and use that country like we have been using it as a tax loophole. That's all we use Puerto Rico for. It's a tax loophole. Corporations love it. Most of our pharmacy drugs and medical equipment comes from there. We pay them folks low wages, and we don't have to pay federal taxes there because it's a territory. That's what we use Puerto Rico for. So you guys you want the benefit of that, but you don't want them folks to be citizens. And that's pretty much why they had to make them folks a state, because you don't have to pay full federal income tax there. Corporate loophole. So, but you don't want those Spanish-speaking people to be Americans, then damn it, give them their independence like we did the Philippines. A lot of folks don't know that. We got the Philippines. We used to, but we gave them their independence, man. Like, after the Spanish-American War in, what was it, 1898, I want to say? After that war, and we beat Spain because of Cuba, we got Guam, we got the Philippines, we got Puerto Rico. That's how it became a territory. Puerto Rico didn't ask to be part of America. We took that shit. So now it's part of the fold. If you don't want that in the Virgin Islands, man, let them go. Just be like, yo, it's just straight up 49. But no, y'all ain't gonna do that, because it's about imperialism. And what imperialism wants is not diversity, it wants assimilation. How dare you guys have your own culture? How dare you guys not get with the program? You need to do what we're doing because we conquered you and this is imperialism and you got to spread the empire and you do what the empire say. You step out of line, you get whacked. That's basically what we're saying with all this stuff.
Mm. I mean, I think it's interesting how you have two different ideas about what unity is. On the one side, you got unity being presented as inclusion. I feel like that was the Bad Bunny show. And then on the other side, you have unity as we have a shared belief in what we feel like traditional America is. What do you think?
I can agree with that, man. The only problem with that is your traditional beliefs. You have a right to believe that, but you don't have the right to push your beliefs on somebody else. And there's
Hmm.
no one way to believe or to do a family. I think I've said this many a times. The problem is we're looking for a traditional family archetype in an untraditional world. Things have changed. Traditionally, man, the man went and worked, women didn't work. Traditionally, but thanks to women's suffrage, which I think is a good thing, women can go out there and work, right? Is it bad? Is it good? It's just different, right? Not to say that. But when you try to push your culture and your shared beliefs on somebody else and not respect theirs, that's kind of when I had the problem, man. It's like, yo, you
But
have a right to
then,
believe what you believe.
but then that kind of, so the fact that you just said that, I mean, 4 months ago when Bad Bunny was on the Late Show, when he was saying, if you don't understand what I said, then learn Spanish.
Mhm.
Is that not pushing his ideas or his beliefs
Nah,
on us?
no, that's right.
But
Because
you,
it
but
was
you, but you just
reactionary.
said that.
No, it was reactionary. It was a reaction to people saying that he speaks Spanish and he wasn't American, right? And once again, Puerto Rico being an American territory, you can learn how to speak Spanish and it's widely spoken in America. So, yes, if you're going to tell me, hey, man, why don't you speak English? Why don't you learn Spanish? Multiple countries do this, by the way. Like Canada, they teach both French and English, right? Because you got French, Canada, Quebec. That's mandatory there, right? Most countries, if you go to Germany, man, they speak four languages. They know Spanish, German, English, Polish, right? Sometimes Russian. My friend Lily from the Ukraine, she can speak Russian, Ukrainian, English, Japanese, right? So no, that was a valid point. It was reactionary because people were shooting at him and saying, "Hey, man, you're not American. Why don't you speak English? Well, speak Spanish. You can do
Mm.
that. Like, I speak a different language. You can learn. like,
Yeah.
this ain't impossible.
Well, I mean, I think one show was trying to illustrate where they feel culture is going or where they feel culture already has arrived to, while the other show was saying, "Hey, this is the culture or our ideal culture that we're trying to protect."
No, that's exactly what it is. Yes, I agree. That's exactly what Turning Point was trying to do. We're trying to protect this culture, but I will pose to them that your culture is not under attack. You can still have your culture. Nobody's taking it away from you. It's that straw man argument of the coffee shop where the man goes to the coffee shop. He's like, he goes to the barista, and the barista says, "Hey, you want a new mocha frappe latte mocha?" And the guy says, "No, I want my coffee black." "Well, do you want our new unicorn frappe with sprinkles?" "No, I want my coffee black." "Well, how about you try a new peppermint mocha?" "No, I want my coffee black." "Why are you trying to sell this to me?" It's like, yeah, but nobody said you couldn't have the black coffee. I just gave you more options, right? The black coffee never went away. You still can get the black coffee. Get it. Who said you can't have it, right? But it's that idea that if I get more, I'm presented more, then somehow my culture disappears.
Mm.
And it's a scary way of looking at life in general, man. I mean, you
Hey,
know,
I mean, one more thing that I'd like to throw out there about the TPUSA, because I've heard some ideas that some views that you put out there, and it's just they weren't trying to surprise their audience,
they
man.
weren't.
They definitely they were just trying to affirm their audience. They were trying to give their audience like a rest assured we're here.
Musically, both of the shows were serviceable. There really was. I lean more towards the Bad Bunny show because I feel like it was a performance. I can appreciate music without lyrics. I can look at the aesthetics. I don't need that, man. But That's the Common Knowledge Podcast with my homie James Payne Lethal. Look out for the album. And brother, man, thank you for being on here to discuss. I know we kind of went all over the place,
Yeah, we
but
did, man. But
but
I
yeah,
enjoyed the conversation. Yo, if I
yeah,
could get a few things out to your listening audience before we bounce.
go for it.
So, first and foremost, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to be a guest and to participate in this conversation with you on the Common Knowledge Podcast. Like my man says so often, he's just a man doing the best he can with what he got. I am James Payne. My artist name is James Payne Lethal. You can find me on Instagram at James Payne Lethal. And I would encourage everybody if you would just, indulge us. In April, we have a collaboration album coming out. It's executive produced by the host of this show, Marcus L. Spade Johnson. And the album's called James, and it's a collaborative project between myself, James Payne Lethal, and Pistol Paco. All of us originate from Memphis, Tennessee. I think people, if they take the time to listen to this project, what they'll find is they will find a form of unity on this album because we reached out to people all around the world. We were not selective. We were not, no, don't.
You give it too much. You give it too much. You give it too much.
Let me got out the bag. My
You
bad.
give it
Oh,
too
my
much
bad.
now.
My bad. My bad.
But
My
let me
bad.
say, you will be surprised. We
My
did
bad.
go all the way around the world.
Well, I mean, hey man, I just want to let people know, like we work really hard on this thing. I mean, it's very grounded. It's real. You know, we coming from the heart, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I think it's a good listen. I think it's worth your time if you take the time to indulge us. I do also have other projects that are available for consumption on all major streaming platforms. And I'm hoping to be more frequent in this conversation space. So, like I said before, man, I appreciate your time, bro. Thank you for letting me join you in this conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope the people that can draw their own conclusions and make sure that you reach out to Marcus and let them know what you thought of the performances. Which ones that you prefer? What are your thoughts on it? Are there any things that we missed that you feel that you would like to